Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to crumble!
I'm Joshua Kemble, and welcome to Joshua Kemble's Livestream. I've been a freelance illustrator and graphic designer for over 20 years. I was an art director for 9 years. And when I'm not art directing and working on illustrations and graphic designs, I'm working on comic books and graphic novels, and that's usually what I do during my streams. And while conversations can go all over the place on this stream, from spicy and entertaining to goofy and silly, one thing stays consistent throughout every stream. I'll always be working on art. So pull up a chair, get your art supplies out, and get ready for an entertaining show that'll keep you company while you work on your own personal art projects. This is Joshua Kemble's Art Stream. All right, welcome to my live stream. I'm Joshua Kemble. Today I'm going to be working on coloring page 150 of Not Death But Love, The Strange Supernatural Story of Elizabeth Barrett Browning. So let's get to it. I'm going to go ahead and open up the camera where I work on stuff so you can kind of see what I'm working on. And we'll just get right into it. So this is the page that I have worked on so far. We're at page 150. This story, in a nutshell, I'm going to try to kind of walk you guys through the plot. I guess while I walk you guys through the plot a little bit on this, there's a couple things I want to go over before walking on the plot over the plot. So first off, where have I been other than Artcasters? I was promising a bunch of extra streams over the summer. Where have I been? Well, in reality, I've just been in crazy crunch time, like trying to get work done. So that's basically consisted of a crazy deadline and about 100-something pages that I got to get done in time for this. Okay, I'm not showing the band. The colors that I'm looking at here are actually from page 3. So this is like back in time. We're going way back in time. To Torquay, England, where Elizabeth Barrett Browning's brother basically drowns at sea. And it's a very poignant kind of beginning to this story. So we find out, anyhow, I was about to get back into explaining where we're at in the plot, but I still wanted to kind of go over what I've been up to. So, anyhow, there's a crazy deadline, and I got to get work done. I think I got cover approval, which is kind of cool. So let me show you guys. The publisher needed the cover because I think at the end of the month, they're going to be basically presenting it to their sales team at Turner. So let's pull open the cover so you guys can see it. Whew! This is going to take a while to open because my Photoshop's been kind of crazy. So yeah, this is the at least the cover in part, all the type and everything done by me. This is a little sneak preview of what that cover will look like. And then, look at that, because, Lavender, the writer, is a good comic collaborator. We're, being credited as co-creators, which is kind of cool. So if you're curious about like co-creator and that kind of credit and what that means, look into the history of Alan Moore and basically Watchmen and the artist. Now I'm blanking out on his name, but the artist who did Watchmen and Alan Moore were both credited as co-creators in their effort. I'm trying to make this expanded. So that's going to be cool. That'll be hopefully on bookshelves. I'm hoping they'll do some gold leafing. There's talk of them doing potentially gold leafing. There we go. Okay, that's a little better. You guys can kind of see how things work. I'll show you guys crazy layers if you want to see the crazy layers that go into a cover like this. Lot of madness. Anyhow, so there we go. Let me also put my phone on mute because I just realized any update is going to be like bling. Okay. So anyhow, so that's something I got done, and then I've gotten, a little bit further on the progress of this. We're returning to Torquay in Elizabeth's dream. So basically, in the plot so far, Elizabeth Barrett Browning is going to basically these spiritualists to try to kind of connect, like starts going as almost like a hobby to this guy Daniel Douglas Home, who's like a spiritualist at the time. He like, does seances and stuff like that. And she starts getting really interested in spiritualism and is introduced to Sophie Eckler, who is a friend, becomes a friend of Elizabeth. She's kind of obsessed with Elizabeth. And we find out that Elizabeth is kind of sick. She takes a lot of laudanum. Um, and it's kind of caused. Oh, and we also very early in the story kind of get the story that most people have written about with the Brownings, but very short version of it, where they have kind of a marriage that's not approved by Elizabeth's father. And so they elope and go to Casa Gaidi, Robert and Elizabeth Barrett Browning. They're very famous poets at this time. And so they kind of get into this interesting relationship with seances where Robert's kind of a skeptic. He doesn't get along with Home or believe him. He thinks he's kind of a huckster. And Elizabeth kind of accepts that he's probably a huckster, but because she's kind of interested, she like misses her brother, and kind of wishes there were ways to kind of contact her dead brother. She's getting kind of drawn into this spiritualism, encouraged by basically Sophie and stuff like that. So anyhow, long story short, there's been blow-ups and all sorts of interesting stuff in the story. But the point we're at right now is we've just wrapped a scene where we find out that Eckley is actually mentoring under Daniel Douglas Home to kind of learn his parlor tricks of being a medium and using it to try to get closer and drive a wedge between Elizabeth and Robert. And Home is agreeing to do this, partially, we find out in the last scene, because he's kind of interested in exploiting Sophie. But not only that, it also serves two purposes, because Robert has publicly embarrassed Home and kind of challenged him. Wow, how did that happen? Hold on a second. Select inverse. And so Home has kind of an incentive to try to drive a wedge between Elizabeth and Robert, just to kind of get back at Robert for being rude to him publicly. And so we kind of find that out, and now we're flashing forward to a dream that Elizabeth is having of her brother drowning. She's kind of haunted by this. And so most of this is historically accurate. They've also gone to an opera and been introduced to a famous magician. And what else? A lot of this kind of other stuff went down when they traveled to different parts of Italy. But now we're gonna return to Casa Gaidi, and I'm gonna try to get as much of this done as I can. I'm gonna try to color this whole page on stream. We'll see how far we go. But anyhow, as to why I haven't been streaming, I've just been really enjoying kind of listening to different programs and kind of comedy stuff and like just fun stuff that's fun to listen to while working. And I find, that every once in a while I'll kind of take a break from streaming and, feel like it's kind of like taking a break from working out, where it'll feel like, well, I already didn't do it yesterday. So anyhow, long story short, I haven't been streaming, but I'm planning on trying to stream a lot before the end of the month, when I will return to teaching and attending college and stuff like that as well. yeah, so anyhow, what we're doing now is like basically the fun part about this is the flats on this are going to be interesting because I think that on this page I didn't really flat a ton. And by flat I just mean the flat colors. But I'm trying to kind of almost like go back to the colors that we saw on the original pages. I feel like color in comics can kind of reference things that came previously. It can work as like almost like a way to decode a story. The way I think of it with color is you can establish all sorts of things like mood and things like that. But along with that, you can also make your story much easier to follow. And so by basically having continuous color. So a good example of that in my mind, like one of the best examples of that would be like Peanuts, where whenever you read Peanuts, you know it's Charlie Brown because he has his shirt and it's always the same kind of color of shirt. Or like another really good example of it would be, like Calvin and Hobbes, where Calvin has a specific costume. So no matter how creative the colors get, you tend to know it's Calvin because of a specific color indication, right? Now, okay, that is pulling those colors from page 3. And now I'm going to go to the kind of drowning sequence, which I believe is all pretty much one solid color, which is kind of wild. So that'll be relatively quick to flat. It's going to probably be a lot longer to shade, but that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and in this case, did we even do whites? That's wild. So I did all the shading with, okay, interesting. It's been a while since I was working on page 4. It's interesting to get this far into a book. It's been kind of a long, relatively overwhelming journey to get this far. Let me also fill in this little crack that somehow got missed in my selection. There we go. Okay. Yeah, it's been a really interesting kind of ride getting to this point of the book. Just kind of wild. What's interesting about this so far, let's see, did we even do... Wow, that is crazy. So even the bubbles were just kind of done with light. So I want to reflect that again just to kind of make sure we're kind of almost like giving like a visual cue back to the beginning of the story. Which makes my flatting relatively easy, although it's going to get a lot more complicated as we go because there's going to be a lot of color holding and light added. Color holding is just when you basically take lines that would otherwise be black and you kind of hold the color and make the black line like a controlled color. So that's what color holding is. So anyhow, it's been an interesting... it's been like a kind of refreshing summer, just focusing on comics. Just kind of like with little amounts of sleep, just chugging through, getting as much done as possible. But it's been a fascinating kind of experience, kind of going through and kind of being able to just focus solely on the book. I am planning on tomorrow probably like doing some music with friends. I was able to do some kind of fun things over the summer that were kind of nice, like nice things that I don't usually do or prioritize. But yeah, like this last month has been just crazy crunch time. Now I want to line this up perfectly. I might have to measure it out, or maybe not. You know what? I don't think I have to measure that out. That's great. Okay. I just wanted to see where in the case of this where I had that that circle. And I think just to make it consistent, we'll go ahead and ooh. Do I need to Okay, I see what I need to do. Okay, first we're gonna do our sky color. I want the sky to be the exact color as it is at the intro as well. It doesn't feel like the same color, does it? Oh, that's because we're on the shading layer. That's a bad layer to be on. Okay. This actually isn't too bad. So this is kind of going to be an interesting page. I'm trying to kind of do movement of the same character without doing panels. And then what's going to happen is the next page is going to kind of start with Elizabeth's eyes waking up. So she's kind of consistently like dreaming of her brother drowning. Okay, so there's a couple things I want to do. One is I want to go to here and delete. Okay, just to make sure that that moon-ish shape is consistent. And then I can, let's see here. Yes, okay, good. Doing a lot of talking to myself because that's what I tend to do when I'm working. I've had a couple of artists kind of comment on my live streams where they're like, I don't know how you talk while you're drawing, you know? And it's like, I will ramble about like interesting different things that kind of come to mind. But I too find it a little hard sometimes to kind of live stream while doing this because like you will kind of get almost like lost in the sauce of different stuff. Philip, how's it going, my buddy? My Canadian brother. Philip Chandler's in the chats. How you been? I haven't talked to you in a while. I hope all is well. Okay, we're gonna do the white. Actually, I don't think we have anything left of that figure to really color. So now it's just about kind of pulling some of the colors from these. Oh, this is fascinating. Okay, I think what I want to do here. Oh, okay, we gotta undo the selection here, undo the selection here. I hope all is going well. How did the move go, Philip? Are you all moved out? Moved into your new place now? I hope it went really swimmingly. You know what we're gonna do? Let's just carve away at it and get just little chunks done at a time. It makes it a little easier to get rid of the shading while I do this. And then let me look at what I did here for the line. Okay, so the line's going to be consistent. Ooh, I need to actually make that line go up a little bit. Okay, that's doable. Okay, so I'm going to do... Philip said the move was a bit rough, but I'm settled into the new place. Right now I'm at home with the flu. Oh no, you got sick. That sucks. I feel like I feel pretty fortunate right now because like the last, decade or so that I was an art director, I wasn't able to like have like an entire summer, like a whole summer off. And for me, I think I mentioned this a while ago. It's like I never really take time off. I'm always working. I'm a bit of a workaholic. So me taking the summer off has been just like crunch time, like hardcore on the book. With little interspersed things that I probably wouldn't be able to do throughout the school year, like going to a Dodger game, which was epic and amazing. But anyhow, like I do know a couple teacher friends who got like super sick. And they took off the summer, which is like one of the big advantages to teaching. And to get sick over the summer kind of sucks. Like, but I guess, when does getting sick not suck? I don't know. Anyhow, I hope you feel better. I hope you rest up and have some soup and, fantastic stuff like that. Yeah, so it's been a really interesting time um, over the summer to just focus on like family and comics. And we've had some pretty interesting guests on Artcasters. I definitely encourage you guys, if you didn't check out last night's Artcasters, to check it out. Some cool uh, indie artists, which are always fun. Scott said he's back. Yes, Scott. And if you are working, hop on and join me. I'm going to be on for at least as long as it takes to color this. I'd love to chat, but if you're busy, let me know. Philip said, I'm on the upswing, but it's just been annoying. It came over me on my days off, which is both good and bad. Yeah, that's always like a win, like financially, but sometimes you're like, I always wonder this with, I'm sure there is some like science behind it or something, but especially when I used to be an art director, I'd always wonder why, like, it's like my body would like hold out knowing that like I couldn't get sick, during work. And then the second I'd like take vacation time or I'd have a day off or something, that's when like I'd get hit hard. And weirdly enough, I did have a similar thing at the beginning of the summer. Like, I don't know what I was doing to fight off like exhaustion and stuff like that. Because during the year, I was like working on, like going to school, which, I already have a master's degree. So school is like a lot, just doing more school. And then doing that on top of like my first year, like teaching high school for like, not my first year teaching it, but my first year teaching it like full time, like for a whole year. Because prior to that, I was doing a little bit of substituting and stuff. That transition, just balancing those two things, like full time school and full time work and lesson plans, and then the comic. I don't even think my body knew how like exhausted that I had become. But by the time like the summer rolled around, I think it was like the first week. Well, the first few days of summer, I think I just crashed. Like I went to bed, like, and slept for like a day and a half or 2 days or something. Um, oh, okay, cool. Scott said he's working on stuff that require him to move around, so he can't stream right now. Okay, understandable. I'm guessing that means some amazing wax packs or something like that. Anyhow, I guess it's just interesting to me that like maybe it's a testament to like how well built we are as humans to like survive, you know, um, and thrive or whatever, that like for somehow our bodies will like be able to kind of maintain not being sick until like you have time off, and then it's like your body basically is like, "Yep, it's time. It's time to let those sick things go wild." Yeah, he said wax packs and a new digital product. Nice. Well, if you get to the point where you can stream, um, let me know. I'll be on and off. Like I'm gonna basically finish this up, and then I might very well be streaming a little later today, depending. I don't want to make promises because I feel like I over promised lots of streams and under delivered this month. So hopefully I can kind of start getting back in the swing of the streaming thing because I do enjoy it. I do enjoy doing the streams and that kind of stuff as well. So my son's been taking swimming lessons and he's been doing really good. Kind of getting used to the pool and stuff like that. That's been fun. We actually went swimming at a friend's house like a couple weeks ago. That was pretty fun too. Nice. Scott said I may be able to stream later. Nice. Just let me know. But yeah, Scott, that guest was amazing. He was a really nice guy. You've been scoring heavily on the guests. I'm trying to think who we should have on next week, and I feel bad because I haven't been really reaching out to too many people to be guests and stuff like that. Because like again, I'm just kind of in crunch time. Like I got a little under 100. Well, now it's quite a bit under 100 pages left to go, but still. I got to calculate it out. Maybe I'll do that after this. So initially I was going to go up with my wife to like Utah to kind of visit family and stuff. But we're going to pass on that. So like in a couple days, I'm just going to stay here and just get pages done. Cause I have to. So, which neither of us are super happy about, because it's always nice to like take a vacation. But I do feel like we got some really nice kind of vacation-y type moments in the last, like, the last few, like, I would say that the time that I was working as an art director, I worked pretty much like a dog. Like, I don't think I took a lot of time off. And a lot of the time, if I did take time off, it would be because I was like sick, and I did that for like a decade. So like even just being able to have like moments of like swimming with my kid at the pool and like, going to Universal Studios and just like silly kind of fun things that we've been able to do, up until like this month, the beginning of this month, I'm like back to crazy crunch time. But it's been nice to, like even though those are like seem like small things, it's like much more time with my family than I think I was allotted at that old kind of previous career, which reinforces to me like something that I've like I think definitely began to embrace as I've gotten older is I feel like the young man's game in art is like to kind of chase almost like clout, or chase Scott said it. I love the page. Are there many full page illos in the book? There are quite a few. There's some really interesting ones. I almost want to pull up some. My favorite is a full pager where they go to the park, and I actually have it all as one page, but there's like 10 different panels happening in the page, and I managed to do it as like a full page picture. So, yeah, there's some inventive paneling that occurs here. A lot of it is like kind of sticking to a grid, but there are times where I'm breaking the grid where it suits the story narrative. So, but yeah, I'm glad you like it. I'm trying to kind of push the page design and stuff on this book. I will say the way this book is coming out, man, if I can manage to like not blow it, and get this thing done, this is gonna be like a very, very beautiful book. Like, I'm super like kind of blown away. Like I had to thumb through. I think I have mentioned I print these out as I go. And Corey Kerr kind of when he's working on his comic, has taken like a different method where he'll, like lay it out in InDesign so you can kind of see it digitally. But what I do is just very old school, since it's going to be a print book anyway. I print them out just on my, my inkjet printer so that I can, and then I'll put them like back to back so that I can read the spreads as intended. And I rarely will, like while I'm making a book, I'll have these times where I don't even look at the spreads to kind of see the consistency. I'll just get in the zone and start knocking out pages, but it really serves well in a couple ways. One is if I need to like double check, like I'm like, I don't know if this is going to work in sequence. It's really nice to see it as it will print. So it's like making a little mock-up of the book. But the other thing that is another reason, especially if you're working on a print book, that I think you should print them out as you go is encouragement, because inevitably, especially when you get, 100 and something pages into a book, you start almost like you can like lose the plot, like both, mentally and not just mentally, but you can just lose the plot, like literally. Like you can kind of forget like what the whole purpose is and stuff like that. That's where like having the printout is really helpful as well, because you can like see this chapel that you're like, it's almost like building a cathedral, except way less cool. But you can see the cathedral, like you get to walk into the cathedral and look at, oh, okay, that was scaffolding I was building, and there was a purpose to that. Um, Man, this is going to be a beast to flat, but that's okay. Uh, so on this shot, we're just kind of zooming in a little bit more on part of Torquay, and I'm just kind of cheating the edge here. I'm trying to think of other full page. Yeah, there's a lot of little full page illos interspersed and stuff. And I try to post like sneak peeks and stuff like that. The cool thing is, I'm glad my publisher's been, encouraging of that kind of thing, because I do think that's kind of the modern era we live in, where the days of kind of keeping, I guess if there was like some giant plot twist, and there are definitely like things I don't want to reveal. Luckily, my streaming audience is like my core audience, so I don't mind kind of sharing some details about the plot with you guys. But in general, like, I do try to keep, like dialogue or any kind of key sequences from what I'll share on social media. But I do like the fact that they're kind of progressive in the way that they think about, kind of sharing the info and stuff like that. Nice. We got Gary saying afternoon. Good afternoon, Gary. I know you're probably at work. I would say you can hop in. I could send you a link, but I'm guessing that you were probably at work, Gary. But if you ever want to hop in when I'm live streaming just to chat, let me know. Unless this is the week you were taking off to like crunch and get pages done. But also, you might be on one of those points where getting pages done and streaming whilst getting pages done may not be beneficial. So I don't know. Just extending the invitation if you want, Gary. Some other news. What's other news? I have quit vaping for 4 weeks now, which is crazy. I quit smoking years ago. I used to smoke about a pack a day. Terrible habit. But it's just because I'm cool, That's why I smoked. I'm just kidding. I'm joking. It's not cool to smoke. But anyhow, so I got into that terrible habit really young, and unfortunate habit, very common habit in the music scene, right? Um, and then kind of quit and started vaping instead. But then that became kind of a thing, and so yeah, like to me, getting 4 weeks without vapes, I have like nicotine supplements, but I don't. I'm not smoking, which is kind of awesome. That might be part of why I haven't been streaming either, because it is interesting when you like, like again, I'm taking like very small amounts of nicotine for these little things, but when you're used to that kind of pacification for over 20 years, right, of just like pacifying in that way, it is like strangely like, man, cutting that out is hard to do, especially when it's something you actually really enjoy, doing. And that's the problem is I really enjoy it. I don't know what happened. It was like a couple. Oh, it was when we went to the Dodger game. So we went to a Dodger game. Best Dodger game I could have gone to. We beat the Yankees, and I think it was like 18-2 or so. It was something ridiculous, like how bad we crushed the Yankees. But anyhow, so it was a great game to see live, like really kind of legendary game. But I remember when we were, there, they were like, "Oh, you can't take this in with like the vape or whatever." So I left it there, and then I realized I don't think I want to buy another one of these. It's just like a really stupid habit. And I got a kid, and I should be able to kick a bad habit, So anyhow, so it's been 4 weeks, and I'm pretty proud of that, and accepting that I'm flawed and stuff. Oh, a couple other things. Maybe you guys will know in the chats. I also another reason I didn't stream. This is like the not streaming excuses show, but I got really into while I was working. I finally was able to watch The Bear. I have a bunch of friends. I'm a big fan of The Refused. They're one of my favorite bands. Have been since like '99 when The Shape of Punk to Come came out. And I went to a Refused show earlier in the year, and somebody was asking my buddy, who we've had on the show, we've had on Artcasters, but my other friend Josh, who's also a high school teacher, we went to see Refused, like for their like last show. It was like their, we're gonna be done after this tour, and he was trying to describe to somebody at like we went to go eat and bumped into an acquaintance at the restaurant, and my friend Josh was like, well, that song they play all the time on The Bear, and he was like, yeah, that's Refused. And I was like, wait, Refused is on like a soundtrack? So anyhow, then he told me about The Bear and stuff, and I was like, huh, it just kind of sounded like, I don't know, it's like a cooking show or something. Like, I'm not like a big, I love food and stuff, but I'm not like a big foodie or anything. So I was like, I don't know. But then I don't know why, but I decided to watch like an episode of it. And that basically became like seasons of it while I was working, just having that on in the background. Amazing show. Like one of the strongest written shows I've seen in a long time. So anyhow, I'm just kind of curious, like Gary, Scott, Philip, any of you guys watch The Bear? It's so good. It's on like Hulu. It's incredible. It's like just for character driven stories and dialogue and stuff. I think it's like it's an amazing show. Which is interesting because I don't tend to watch a lot of TV. So, but yeah, I think I picked a good one there. If you guys haven't seen it, you want to see some just like really strong, emotional storytelling, where characters have like true arcs and development, but it's like very believable. I don't know. I think it's pretty amazing show. And the cast is amazing. Like the actors are really great too. But anyhow, I don't even know where I was going with that. I was just saying The Bear is fire. Like that was a really good show. So I got really addicted to that while I was working. That's the problem with streaming is when you're streaming, you're kind of like you're getting work done, but you're also not absorbing a lot of work while you're doing it. So it's like a give and take. I feel like sometimes when I'm making art, I have to fill my consumption tank, and like listen to cool music or listen to somebody else's stream. Scott was saying I haven't, but we do watch a few cooking shows, and he said, "Oh, it's fiction. I thought you said it was a cooking show." It is it's a show about a restaurant, and like the basic plot of it is this guy is like the best. He's pretty much like the best chef in the world, and his family, which was like really broken and kind of just messed up, like from growing up and stuff, also ran like a restaurant, but it was like a Philly cheesesteak kind of restaurant in Chicago, just like a Chicago steak house kind of thing. And it's just chaotic and lost a bunch of money. It's like one of those kind of dumpy, steak houses on the corner. Anyhow, so this world-renowned chef who cooks at like a Michelin star restaurant, his brother who owned that family restaurant basically commits suicide and leaves the restaurant to his brother, like leaves it to Bear, the main character. And then like, so the plot of it is like a Michelin star chef going into this kind of ramshackle disorganized, chaotic, just like restaurant, and trying to turn it into something and like kind of save the restaurant and start making, you know, like really, making it into like a Michelin star restaurant. So it's really interesting, and it has a ton to do with food, but it's an interesting show, and where like it's a lot about Chicago and about the growth of these characters and about kind of the sacrifices to make good art, and the costs that you pay to make something great, whether they're worth it or not, whether pursuing dreams is worth kind of the cost of it. It deals with all these deep themes, all framed around food, but there's tons of food in it. So if you're really into cooking shows and stuff, you'd probably like it too for that, because it definitely there's a lot of tasty food being organized. But it's a great show. It kind of reminds me of Anthony Bourdain. I'm blanking out on the book. Oh, that's gonna kill me because I read it a long time ago. But Anthony Bourdain wrote like a book called, I think it was called like Kitchen Confessions, or what was the name of Bourdain's book? But anyhow, it's kind of like that type of story. It's like a very like tell all. This is what happens behind the with cooks. And the really cool thing about it is the cast all trained with like Michelin star chefs and stuff, so that they could actually do like legit cooking while filming. So they trained, a lot of I think from what I read, like a lot of cast members like trained for like, like a year. They all went to like culinary school and stuff just so that they could be convincing when they were making all these different like tasty dishes. It's anyhow, again, I didn't think it would be as good of a show as it is. It's like it's one of those shows that kind of sneaks up on you, but it gets you real quick. So like it's not like a slow build. Like I think within the first episode or so, you would see whether it's something you would like or not. But just so much character growth. Like it's just really incredibly well written. Philip said, I got obsessed with Severance for a while. Yeah, I want to see Severance. I really need to see Severance. What channel is Severance on? See now, Philip, you're giving me another reason not to live stream though. Because how am I going to watch Severance and live stream while working? Don't give me another thing to get hooked on. My autistic brain will just start, obsessing about that. I'll have to get through all the seasons before I can start working again. But anyhow, yeah, The Bear, it's incredible. And if you like baking kind of stuff, it's just it's an amazing show. And I think they're done. It's like 3 seasons, so it's kind of like The Wire, where I feel like if they do another season, they just like the writing is as good as The Wire. So it's like it's all wrapped and tied with like a beautiful bow, with like kind of the perfect ending. So I don't see them continuing it past the 3 seasons. In fact, I feel like if they do, it's just like a big mistake. Oh, Philip said it was on Apple TV. Yeah, see, that's the problem, is I don't have Apple TV. Does Apple TV have like a subscription thing? I feel like if you own a Mac, you should have free Apple TV. I feel like just for having to pay for a Mac, you should get, Apple TV for the life of your Mac. That's what I feel. But anyhow, yeah, The Bear's really good. The actors are just incredible. And what's interesting about it too is I've seen some of those actors in different shows, and that they're not as good in different shows as they are. Like, you can tell the director's really good, like the writer and the director, because the performances they get out of the actors is like next level. Like, it's it's not one of those things like I feel like a testament to how bad the prequels were in Star Wars was that, you have an actor like Sam Jackson who, like, even in the stupidest movie, is just contagious. like, like Samuel Jackson, you know, you watch like Snakes on a Plane, and it's the dumbest movie ever made, and it's a great. I wouldn't mind rewatching it actually. Uh, but you know, Sam Jackson's not been in all great movies. Like he's been in incredible movies like Pulp Fiction and stuff like that. But like, you know, even stemming back to like Amos and Andrew, which is like an old school Sam Jackson movie, like there's just something about him that's magnetic. So even with a bad director, like he tends to do a compelling performance. Even if he's not like the best actor, he's just magnetic. Like you put him on screen, he's just magnetic. Um, and then you see the prequels, and you're like, how? If I watch the prequels for Star Wars, I would not realize like what an awesome, talented actor he is. You know, I would just think, man, this guy's really stiff in his delivery, which is like the last way I'd ever describe Samuel Jackson's delivery. But it's just like somehow the director managed to get the worst performance out of him that I've ever seen him do. This was like the opposite of that, where it's like a really great performance. That was shots fired at the prequels. Philip said it's about $10 a month. If you buy an Apple device, they always give you a couple months free. Nice. Well, I might need to renew my computer pretty soon because it has been kind of laggy. I'm kind of surprised my internet connection hasn't like completely crapped out. Yeah. All right, we're getting there, guys. We're getting there. Just getting this whole forest. Whew. This is a beast to do. A lot of this is going to be done with shading, though, because again, I want to match the first page. And the first page has most of the work is in the light and shadow and not so much in the flats. But yeah, Severance, I'm trying to remember who directed Severance, because I feel like I looked into that recently and it's like a really good director, but I can't, maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like it's a really like incredible director, but I don't know. I don't know. But yes, a lot of people have told me check out Severance, so I will have to. Plus I really started liking oh my goodness, that lead actor who's in it from Parks and Rec. I really like him. He did a podcast with the guy from Comedy Bang Bang and with Scott Aukerman and Adam Scott, I think is his name. Anyhow, I really like him because of his affiliation with Scott Aukerman, who I think is one of the funniest people. Okay. Okay, we're getting there. Oh, that's it. Ben Stiller. Yeah, because I was thinking about Ben Stiller recently. Because Ben Stiller, I think it was like the Ben Stiller show. These are all things I've been doing while not streaming. I checked out the Ben Stiller show. And again, because it's like I remember it from when I was younger. And I had forgotten like how like just incredible of a thinker like Ben Stiller is. Like he's actually just like a really incredibly intelligent guy. Like even Reality Bites, like Reality Bites was a Ben Stiller thing. And I still, you know, this might be like a nostalgic love for that movie, but I still like I really love that movie. But I feel like Ben Stiller, like even Cable Guy and stuff like that, like he's always had like a good sense of dark humor. And so while he's done some stuff that I'm not like a big fan of, like Night at the Museum and stuff like that, which I think is like still not bad stuff. It's just like very much like catered and geared to kids. I still feel like he's got like when he's got that like method that I think a lot of strong comedians have, where he'll kind of take like the commercial thing and then take the money from that and do some like crazy cool indie movie. Like he did that movie, oh my gosh, what was that movie where he's like a drug addict who created Alf, basically? It's like he's an incredible thinker, and I think like a really brilliant comedian. But anyhow, watching like Ben Stiller's show and even the team he put together for that was just like, that was like premium comedy. And I had like kind of forgotten about it, so I kind of went down the rabbit hole and kind of re-looked at all of the stuff that Ben Stiller's done throughout his career. And they mentioned Severance, and I was like, oh, that's probably something I would like then. Because if it's like artsy Ben Stiller, I love artsy Ben Stiller. Scott said, I've been watching the new Looney Tunes shorts on Max. They're totally in the vein. Oh, did they renew Looney Tunes? Oh, wow. That's amazing. I'm glad. I'm kind of glad if they get that rebooted, that'd be good. The place I used to art direct had, Warner Brothers license and stuff. And so we were able to make a lot of Looney Tunes properties and stuff. We'd do it for like Six Flags and stuff like that. But like, Looney Tunes was still like it's funny because I think Warner Brothers has been the last, few years trying to really figure out how to like refresh the brand, because I think it's kind of still tough to make a profit off of, which is insane to me. Being a person who grew up with, just reruns of Looney Tunes, like that was just like the top of its game. And Scott, I know you used to work, doing stuff for, the Warner Brothers stores and stuff, like murals and stuff like that. And it's like, just from that era where like every mall in the United States had like Looney Tunes stuff, it was like a big thing. And they had, like Tiny Toons and you had Animaniacs. Warner Brothers was just like at the top of their game. And I don't know what's happened in the last, few years, but yeah, I feel like they haven't ever really been able to kind of regain that that prominence that Looney Tunes originally had. So I'm always very supportive of the idea of them, getting that going again, especially if they're kind of going for the old school style of Looney Tunes. Oh, cool. Scott said the shorts are hilarious. He said the Day the Earth Blew Up movie with Daffy and Porky in it is excellent. Now, is it like a full movie or just like a short? Yeah, I'm kind of curious to watch. I don't know. I feel a little burned out on superhero stuff. Like, it's, what's funny? I feel like with superheroes, I've been hit with kind of the feeling I had when I was a kid and I was into superheroes. Where, and it's sad to like, man, I hate the fact that all this stuff came out with Neil Gaiman, because he really was an impactful creator on my journey into indie comics, and so some of that stuff is just kind of a bummer to me, because he's just such a, like, the Sandman had a massive impact on me. But anyhow, I remember about the era that I started getting into the Sandman, and then started really delving into like Fantagraphics and getting into like some of the history of indie comics, and digging deep into like the well of like Robert Crumb and Dave Sim and all these like weird, just strange cartoonists, and ordering like Milk and Cheese issues and getting into the indie stuff. And I remember just because I got kind of burnt out on so much superhero stuff. Like, there was just so much, and I was a big fan of superheroes. Like, I never want to, deny that I was like a Spider-Man kid. I obsessively I think in my back bins, I've got, probably I followed Web of Spider-Man for some reason, but I have like issues. I don't know. It's something ridiculous, like issues 1 through 200, and I can't even remember the number, but it's like a couple hundred, I think, um, of that series of Spider-Man. Like I loved Spider-Man. I loved Spawn and all of that stuff. But there's just this point where it just reached like redundancy. And so it kind of I guess it kind of reminds me of like Pokemon. Like Pokemon is really interesting and fascinating, and then there's Digimon, and there's everything else that's pretty much just Pokemon. And eventually after a while you just, I don't know, like it's not like the most interesting story anymore. It was, but then it's just kind of like it's just overload. And I feel that way with superhero movies now, where I just Superman is coming out and it looks really cool. And as a guy who, as a kid, I think the first superhero I got into was Christopher Reeve's like Superman. Like those were the coolest movies. I had Superman pajamas because of those movies, that was like the coolest thing in the world. And the recent iteration, it looks like it's going to be like that, and I feel there's a part of me that like really feels like I should be really excited to see it, but it's just too much superhero crap. Like I'm so is that crazy? Oh, okay. Oh, he said it's a full movie, and he said it's the first fully animated Looney Tunes movie in 2D. Oh, wow. Was it in theaters? I feel like I've missed a lot of pop culture. But yeah, if you guys haven't seen The Bear, definitely check out The Bear. Anyhow, so I don't know if it's just crazy in me, but I just like I haven't been able to get really excited about the superhero stuff. I feel like it's just oversaturation, like too much. But the one thing that does look fun from the James Gunn previews that I've seen is it looks fun rather than like it's superheroes, but it's dark. Like I don't know. So, maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. All right. So we have a little bit more of this to go. We're almost at the hour mark where I might need to get some water. I might need some water. Okay. Gary said he's seeing Superman on Friday and he's going to report back. My question though, Gary, is am I alone in this? Like, are you feeling excited about seeing it, or do you feel kind of tapped out? Like the superhero thing's just been like, it's like too much. Too much. I don't know. Philip said, I know what you mean. I felt that way about loud, bombastic blockbuster movies in general. Lately, I've been more interested in smaller, quieter movies. That's one of the reasons I really enjoyed The Bear. Like, it's not a sci-fi. Like, it's just a very human slice of life type story. And I just watching it, I was like, it was refreshing. Now, keep in mind, I also, like, while working, man, this just shows you how much I've been working on comics. Because, like, I have these on in the background while I'm working. I got through all of Shogun. And that was pretty good. Speaking of, like, kind of over-the-top, overproduced stuff, Shogun was pretty fun. It was interesting. Gary said, I definitely have superhero fatigue, but I'm cautiously optimistic and have wanted a brighter, sunnier version of the character forever. Yeah. I feel like I didn't even watch the Batman Superman thing. Like I haven't even seen those movies. Um Particularly cuz like I'm not a big Snyder fan. Like I know everybody was all stoked about the Snyder cut and stuff. I never watched like Justice League with. I think I watched like the last Superman I tried to watch. I remember it was so badly edited that like my wife and I tried to watch it and we couldn't even tell. There was a scene where they're walking into like the Fortress of Solitude and we couldn't even tell that like whether it was a flashback or time had passed because they crossed the line of action so much in the editing. It was just like it was just really terrible. But I don't like the idea of the Snyder. Like I just don't like. I saw the trailers and I just don't like. I feel like if you're gonna do Batman, you go dark, you know, for sure. Um, I feel like Batman is a character where the way Nolan approached it, and keep in mind I haven't watched like the Joker movie or the Detective Batman version again because of just like total superhero burnout. But in my opinion, the best Batman to date is still like the Dark Knight Rises, that whole series. That is a perfect way to approach Batman. But I feel like with Superman, you just kind of doing like dark Superman is just kind of dumb. Because then you lose all the interest of Superman. Like the real key reason Superman is fascinating as a character is the fact that he's so good-hearted. Like you really shouldn't do dark Superman. You know, like dark Superman could be a storyline where it's like someone mind controlled Superman and made him turn dark, but like they free his mind and he gets back to being good Superman. But you can't do, like, I don't know, dark emo Superman is just not, in my opinion, the right. This is my own, my own opinion. Personally, I feel like the strength of Superman is when you go with like the Fleischer era Superman, where he's not dark, he's just like magnificent and and fantastic and just does cool things, or like Christopher Reeves, where he's just the all-American, great, like he's the ideal that people should live up to, and people are the problem, not him. um yeah. Gary said the Nolan movies are great. It's just impossible to picture that version alongside actual meta-human superheroes. Yeah. And I think in general, they're less meta-human superheroes they need to be iconic and mythic and good. And I feel like sometimes that just kind of, and keep in mind, I'm just kind of talking through just fatigue of the whole kind of genre. I did really enjoy a lot of the Marvel universe. I feel like Doctor Strange was great. There's a lot of good stuff. The first Captain America was great. The second one was okay. There's a lot of like gems among the but the thing is, I don't really feel like I have to watch them again. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. Even Spider-Man, like I feel like the new okay, the Spider-Verse thing was cool. But again, if there was a sequel, I don't know if I'd be all excited about seeing it. Like I'm just kind of, I don't know. I might just be burnt out. But let me know, Gary. Maybe that'll bring back my, childhood love of superheroes. I was getting a little bit of Star Wars fatigue, and then Andor happened, and kind of revived my hope and love for the franchise. So maybe there's hope yet. Gary said I liked a lot of the MCU, but I think the last one I enjoyed was Shang-Chi, which was a while ago. Yeah, I feel like you might be right. It might have been the last one I liked too. Oh, I did like Daredevil. And even though it's dark superhero stuff, I feel like that character is a really good character to go dark with. And I did enjoy the new season of Daredevil on Disney Plus. So I will say there's still a lot of good. I think it just might be that there's so much of it that just to see like a story like The Bear where it's just human and yeah, like it's about humans. Like I don't know, sometimes that's nice. You know, stories about people. Um and yeah, I don't want to come across as like as though I'm some kind of, you know, reality snob or something. I just every once in a while I really do like a real heartfelt, you know, story that talks about people. Let me see here. Trying to get this to work. Yeah, that works. Okay. There's big chunks of this forest, you know, that I gotta make work. I mean, yeah, many superhero movies, but maybe I'm just getting old. I don't know. Some kind of delivery or something. My dogs are letting you know. That's right. That's the Amazon delivery bell right there. Oh man, what else? What else is interesting? Oh, you know what was cool? I convinced my son to go on the Transformers ride. And that was pretty cool. And that's a dumb like I do not like the Transformers movies. I'm just not a big Michael Bay guy. And that whole thing was based on, you know, Michael Bay's Transformers. However, I will tell you that's a very cool ride at Universal. That was pretty epic. Pretty fun. How do you guys feel about fast rides? Are you guys like roller coaster guys? Do you get sick on roller coasters? What if you have to go to a theme park? Are you like a rock the rides kind of person, or I'm kind of curious to hear in chat. Okay. Philip said he saw a short flick called Novocaine, and it was gross, but also lighthearted. Gross? What kind of like? How was it gross? Was it like a horror movie? Was it about dentists? Was it about the eels? There is a movie I really want to see that was released that's a pavement documentary. I love and Pavement because I'm a nerdy indie kid. And Pavement was like the soundtrack to like the mid to late 90s for me. Like that was just like one of the first like huge kind of indie bands that wasn't a punk band that I just like got obsessed with and like owned every album of and like loved. And their lyrics were really silly. It's just like really good, fun music. And tonally just hit a lot of these just the sounds that I really like in music. Anyhow, they apparently have like a fake rockumentary where it's like part biography, part rockumentary, part fiction. And it sounded really interesting because it's like they were trying to make the movie, you know, apparently like sound like the music of the band, where it's very playful and goofy. And I am kind of curious to see that. Okay. I want to start getting into a little bit more of this. It's always hard with like landscape stuff where you want big chunks of color, but you want enough color separation where it's indicating the color at hand. Okay, I know what I'm going to do here. We're going to do this. Get some of these things. Philip said the main character can't feel pain and gets really busted up through the course of the movie trying to rescue his girlfriend. Oh, interesting. I also got like really hooked on a lot of YouTube drama kind of stuff. And that's really fun to listen to while you're working, you know, where it's just, you know, different podcasts that I like and stuff, beefing with different podcasts. It's so stupid, but these are the things that I've been enjoying and doing. Philip said, I'm not a roller coaster or fair rides in general. I'm petrified of them. I used to be really like into roller coasters when I was younger. But I have noticed when I go on like a good example, like because because my son wanted to go to Mario World, right? So we got passes to go to Universal, like season passes, because they were like a little bit more than just what the ticket would have cost. Like they're definitely a lot more affordable than like Disney tickets in California. And you know, I hadn't been on like a real like jerky ride in a while, and we went on this Harry Potter ride, and I seriously felt like sick to my stomach, and I was like, I never want to go on that thing again. I haven't had that feeling from a ride. I think I finally hit the age where I'm getting that feeling from rides, because I was like, yeah. Okay, well, my wife made me feel better by saying a lot of seasoned roller coaster riders like hate that ride. Anyhow, it's like the Harry Potter one where you're on you're on like a broom, and it was just awful. It was like so like disjointed, and the story wasn't even fun. Oh, cool! We got a little $30 pool for Ben. His cousin's gonna come up and play around in the pool in the last leg of summer. But anyhow, I used to be like really in roller coasters. I haven't been to, well, no, we went to Six Flags a couple years back, and I did go on some of the big roller coasters, and they are really fun. But the ones that kind of jerk you around and feel like they're just kind of shaking you and like you're in a can, and they're just trying to like break your back or neck, like that's not as fun as it used to be when I was a kid, you know? A good example, we went to Six Flags a couple years back. And when I was in, you know, like high school, junior high, like a lot of these rides were really fun to go on. But you know, as an adult, a lot of the rides like Viper and the classics, like they were really fun to ride on as an adult. But then there was this ride that I used to like when I was a kid called Whiplash. And it literally gives you like whiplash. Like it's the worst stinking thing. Anyhow, so I do not enjoy that anymore. How's it going? We got Jim Luhan, Jimmy the Lutz joining us. Jim, are you a roller coaster guy? As you're older, like roller coasters, do you not? We're kind of talking theme parks, roller coasters, and also, are you feeling burnout on Just like too many superheroes. And also the last one, have you seen The Bear? Because I just watched it and think it's pretty incredible television. Got a full chat. Hopefully you guys are making some cool stuff. Getting closer to done with the dark parts, and then we get into the color holds and stuff, so I can't wait. But this always gets a little tougher as we get towards this last bit. Jim said he hates roller coasters, he loves dark rides. Nice. Oh, the funnest one I've been at that's at Universal though was I gotta say Jurassic Park the ride is really fun. Because it's got like a big drop in the water, but it's not like a roller coaster. It's just like a really thrilling drop into the water and you get super wet. But also, it is dark and there's dinosaurs. And I gotta say, I don't think I'll ever get to an age where dinosaurs aren't just awesome, you know? I can't see somebody getting to an age where they're like, yeah, dinosaurs, you know, who cares? I don't know like how somebody could get to an age like that where you just get like burnt. You're like, I'm burnt out on dinosaurs. Like I'm a little burnt out on superheroes. I can see that, but like dinosaurs, I feel like I don't know. Even if every movie in the world had just terrible dinosaurs and stuff, it's like it's hard to imagine dinosaurs not being fascinating. Yeah, I feel like you've lost a part of your soul if you've gotten to the point in life where you're like, I just don't care about dinosaurs. What, like, at that point, what is the point of anything, really? You know? Jim was saying, I haven't seen The Bear. Can you describe what makes it so good? It's just a really human story that starts as like a premise. It's like sneaky, where it seems like it's just going to be kind of like kitchen confessions, like the Anthony Bourdain book, just about like the workings of a kitchen and like you know, a staff working at a restaurant. But like it gets just like super deep, and the casting is great, the acting is incredible. So it's all about like the emotional journeys of these different characters, following each character from a kitchen. But then it's also like intertwined in that like kind of a love story to Chicago, and about like the city and design and taste, and it's just I don't know. It blew my mind as a it's probably the best TV I've seen since Andor. And I have to say, beating Andor. I don't think it beats Andor, but it's on par, I think, as good television. Yeah, so I don't know. It's good food, great acting, really deep characters. I think you'd like a lot Jim too, because it's a lot of kind of unsavory type characters. They're very flawed and imperfect. It's just a really well done show. Philip said, I am digging that cross section underwater effect. It's kind of unsettling in a good way. It'll be even more unsettling soon. Now I know tech like this is completely inaccurate. So if you're looking at this and you're like, why can't I see the dirt of that? Like, you know, I'm not being perfectly accurate to reality here. Yeah, Jim, I think you'd like The Bear.
How do I explain it? I'm sorry. Is there any question that you asked me about pieces? Yeah.
guys. Do.
Okay, so am I. What you have to do is guess how many pieces this made up, not counting them as individual pieces, not like 1, 2, 3, 4, but like
What are you guys all working on? I'd love to hear it.
this is made out of pieces. How many pieces? How many chunks? Can I see one chunk? So
I finally got a haircut today. That was nice.
like one chunk would be like say like this portion here, or this portion here.
I haven't like gotten a haircut like most of the summer. I'm really bad with haircuts. I don't know if you guys have this issue, but like I will, especially when I'm in like a creative zone, like things like eating and just basic stuff become like very secondary. I'm lucky I have a really awesome wife who will remind me of those things, because I will lose touch with things and just kind of get in the zone of making and get very easily distracted. So like what's been cool is like my wife has given me like tips, where if I'm like going overboard, just getting like too into it, she'll be like, you should probably get a haircut. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess being human is probably a good thing sometimes, Philip said, I just started making soup. Nice. Bet it's delicious soup. Soup is awesome. I feel like soup is one of those foods that it's fairly underrated. You know what's great is when I was a kid, actually I need to take my son here. We got to go to we'll have to do that like maybe next summer, or maybe over Christmas break or something. But like the Winchester Mansion, if you've ever been in California, is awesome. Like I want to bring Ben there just to see the Winchester Mansion. But anyhow, right next to the Winchester Mansion, like pretty close to it, if I'm remembering correctly, is Anderson's Split Pea Soup. It's like a tourist trap, pea soup place. Man, I'm telling you, split pea soup is delicious. Like that is one of the best soups. It's just very delicious. No, it's just one of Philip was talking about eating soup. My wife was like, "Why are you suddenly talking about soup?" He was talking about making soup, and I was like, "Soup is good. Soup is a All right, we're getting closer. Couple little spots here. It's just always weird with like foliage and stuff. Flat coloring. I feel like if you were trying to teach somebody how to color comics, you give them a really complicated background. So they have to like learn how to flat, but also include enough detail to where it doesn't look like totally dead, but it also isn't like rainbows throwing up, It's like a fine dance. Scott said, is that the ones that's supposed to be haunted? Yes, it's this lady, the wife of the guy Winchester who invented the Winchester rifle. She thought she was being haunted by Native American ghosts of all the basically all the Native American tribes that have been wiped out with her husband's invention. Yeah, they tried to make a horror movie about it. But they've never made a really good, like, I think they could make a better one. Like, I think that would be a really cool story. Like, but yeah, so she loses her mind and basically starts just spending the fortune that was made off these guns because it was like the most, successful rifle that had been invented. I think because it's spring loaded or something. I don't know enough about guns, but I know it was like a big deal when it came out. She made a fortune off of it. But anyhow, so she starts building like traps in her house to catch ghosts and keep them occupied because she gets convinced that if the ghosts of these spirits like get a hold of her, they'll basically like kill her or do some horrible mischief. So she starts doing weird things like making sure every window has like 13 panels, and making sure like building staircases that lead to the roof, and like building like false doors. So there's like doors that she like made, so if you're in the house that you'd think you're just walking upstairs to a room, but you'd open the door and it just leads to just like a flat drop from like the third story or fourth story of the building. It's like really crazy. I'm sure there's like tours of it on YouTube. But it wouldn't, it's just a really cool, amazing building. Just like it's nuts because it's like it's not like she was like falsely believing this stuff. It's like she poured a fortune into just like renovating and making this like almost like the original haunted mansion. It's crazy, and it feels very haunted and creepy being there. But it's also a really incredible tour. And then she was a really small lady, so everything was built to scale for her. And so not only is it like weird and filled with like booby traps for ghosts and like staircases to nowhere and like doors that lead to like, deathly falls and all this weird stuff. Not only that, it also has like stairs, but they're like built for her height. So they're like everything's like they're really small steps on the stairs. And so it feels really tenuous just walking through the house because it's just a really weird, it's just a fascinating and strange building with like seance rooms and all sorts of stuff like that. It's a cool place to go, but it's a big part of California history, It's just one of those go-to spots. But it's also cool if you're into like Victorian era architecture and stuff. Scott said, I have to go when I'm in California, that and the Kirby exhibit. I need to go to the Kirby exhibit. It's not that far. Skirball Center is not that far. I can't believe I haven't been yet. Jim, did you go to the Kirby exhibit yet? I'm sure you did. Okay, so we're going to do some color holds. So I want to do color holds. I want to see if I color held the lines here. I didn't. Okay, so I'm seeing what's going to happen here. So this top part, all the water. Okay, all the water. We'll start there. Dylan said Helen Mirren plays her in a movie. Was that the one we watched? I don't know. My sister-in-law and I watched it, but I don't remember if that was Helen Mirren. But there was like a movie where it was based on it. It was okay. It was pretty good. The cool thing about the movie, they did film a lot of it in the castle, which I feel like that's kind of the money there, is like actually film it on site. Yeah, it's really fascinating. There's like spiders, like she was really obsessed with like spider stuff. So there's like 13 and spiders and like it actually, I think it was a big influence on the Haunted Mansion when they were building it at Disneyland. Like they were kind of influenced by the vibe of like, Winchester Mansion. It's called Winchester. Then I think it is the one we watched. Yeah. She wears a black dress. Yeah. I just didn't, for some reason, I didn't realize that was Helen Mirren. But yes, she is an interesting piece of California history. But I haven't been since, like, you know, since I was a kid, really. I think the last time I went, I was in, like, no, I went with, I think I might have went with, did we go? We never went, huh, to Hearst Castle, or Winchester? Yeah, so I think the last time I went was when I was in junior high.
No, because I've never been there.
Yeah, so we'll have to go, like, maybe Christmas break or something. That would be fun to see it during Christmas break, too. Nice, creepy, ghosty stuff. Dylan said, I love Helen Mirren. Yeah, Helen Mirren's a legend, man. Yeah. She really is fantastic. I'm just selecting all of the water. And I'm going to kind of make a copy here. And then we're going to make, we're going to edit paste in front. It is really hot. Is the AC off?
No.
Yeah, I think the fan's fine. It shouldn't be a problem. No. I think we gotta have the fan. It's getting... Yeah, I don't know why our house got really hot, but it might be that we're in the Antelope Valley. Oh.
I turned it on while I was on, after I woke up.
Oh, okay.
So it might still be trying to cool off.
Oh, okay, okay. There we go. We have our answer. How many pages have you worked on since starting summer break? I haven't gotten as many as I was hoping to done. I think I got about 30 done so far. So, you know, like an issue, basically. Which is like okay, but it's not quite what I was hoping to get done. Yeah, that actually works. So that's what a color hold is, right? Where that line is going to be slightly discolored. That actually works pretty well. What else are we going to color hold? Okay, we're going to color hold the distance. Oh, that'd be cool. Okay, I want to do that too. So I like that I did that on the last one. So I want to kind of color hold a big chunk of area here. But you know what? I'm going to freehand the color hold here because I think this will actually make more sense. Because I want it to like kind of get like blue as it goes into the background here. Like it's getting kind of swallowed by the mists. The mists of time. Jim said, I hear they're building a roller coaster inside of the Hearst Castle. That would be really wild. I need to double check that Jim has another unicornians come up because I feel like I've been in this like just almost like just a space of just totally creating and possibly losing touch with that kind of stuff. Ooh, I like that. Okay, I want to do this just a little bit lighter. Okay. So we color held those lines so that it kind of recedes into the background. Oh, nice. Scott said Jen got tickets for Superman tomorrow night, so I'll report before Gary. Nice. Let me know, my dude. Now I want to see. I did color hold the sky. Okay. So I'm going to do a bit of color holding on the sky as well. Okay. That's doable. Okay, so now I want to do... I almost want to paint it over. We'll just have to see. Oh, that actually kind of works pretty well. Just color holding some of the sky. Some of the ocean waters. Some of the ocean waters. The deep waters. And I want to just have this kind of be like more of a transition there. Okay. We're getting closer. Now I just need to add white. And again, we're going back to page 3 and just kind of refiguring out how I built this thing. Okay. Page 3, I did a lot of white. And then on this, I think it was all white. And the white was under the black. Okay, good to know. So now we just have to do a lot of lighting. This will be fun. What did I do for the... Yeah, okay, cool. Anyhow, Jim, I want to know if Unicornians got any further. Because, like I said, I've been kind of in this little tunnel of creative. We're just going to start adding just a little bit of light. Did I have the light hit the... It just hit the ocean and the sky. Okay, cool. Let's go to our drawing here. Okay. I'm going to label this as white. I accidentally labeled it as shite. That W is right above the S. My shite layer. Okay, Jim said he's working on Unicornians episode 5. I cannot wait. I've been really enjoying the series. I just want to make sure one didn't drop while I was, off in creation zone. That's one of the fun things about being friends with creatives. Like a good example, this Tuesday, I was supposed to hang out with my pal, my friend Josh, and record some music. And I completely lost track of it because of the deadline I'm on. I reached out to him and was like, hey, Thursday is going to work probably better for me and stuff like that. It's like a lot of friends would be like, like really mad or annoyed. And he was just like super chill about it because he's a creative. So he gets it, It's like, I think that is one nice thing about having friends that are creatives where they kind of understand like, oh, you're in like, pumping out 50 pages mode, Okay. I am liking how this is coming. That works a bit, but I feel like it needs to like dip a little bit out around here. Oh, maybe not. Maybe around here. I just don't like the highlight being so gregarious there. Okay. Now we're going to start doing our... Okay, what did I do for the water? Are there blasts of... There are little blasts. Okay. So we're going to do some little blasts. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to kind of pick these two, and then I want to select inverse. Delete the white from... Oh. Never mind. We're not going to select inverse. Okay, and then go back to the white layer, and now we're going to start doing our little highlights on our character. And our little happy highlights. Yeah, if you guys haven't been watching Unicornians with Jim Lujan, what are you doing with your life, right? It's just the best series ever. Creepy cults and Jim Lujan humor. Great plots, investigative journalists. Dylan said my aunt and her granddaughter, and I are going to the Dolly and Canyon Lake this weekend. I'm excited. I've never been there before. Is that like a Dollywood, Dolly World kind of thing? I know where I used to work, Dollywood was one of our clients. And that was really cool, where we do like can't remember, it's like Dreams Time and stuff like that. She had a lot of like butterfly assets and stuff, but it was cool. I had to like redraw like Dolly Parton's guitar for like keychains and stuff. It was super fun. Anyhow, she has like a bunch of resorts like all over the US. I didn't realize like that until I worked there. I had never really heard of anything Dolly related. Anyhow, so is that what that is? Dylan said, I get to meet my cousin for the first time this year. She'll be 2 this year. Aw. That's awesome, man. But a steamboat thing sounds fun as hell. Just, you know. Be careful that, like, Peg Leg Pete doesn't show up. You know what I'm saying? Because steamboats can get pretty contentious with... Isn't Steamboat Willie like royalty free now? You can like he's part of the fair use. Because if I feel like Jim, you should have Steamboat Willie in your next Unicornians. You know, I mean, you can use him now. Why not? Right? Just have him in the background, like abusing animals. I really love, like, there is a part of me that just, like, absolutely adores the old school Mickey Mouse cartoons. Those silent Steamboat Willie. What's up? Oh, yeah. So when Ben was a baby, we would play, like, you know, the black and white, you know, like Plane Crazy and stuff. There's one of the cartoons, I can't remember the name of it, but it's like basically like Mickey is a construction worker, and he's like working on this like building. This one's not anymore, right? Because that's Mickey, you know. But anyhow, so and Minnie Mouse pulls up, and she's got like a food cart, and she's like, hot dogs, come get your hot dogs. She's singing like a song about hot dogs. And so anyhow, so she like is singing this song about like Huckleberry Pie and like getting your food. And so Mickey like goes on break and kind of flirts with Minnie, but he's like a little like he's a dangerous little dude. Like he kind of offends her because he's like trying to like force a kiss on Minnie Mouse, and like she's like freaked out by him. But then Peg Leg Pete comes and just like steamrolls the whole thing, and then Mickey like saves her and everything works out. But anyhow, they're very funny cartoons, and Ben used to be like obsessed with them because they're silent cartoons. They're very cute, and well, they're not silent, but they're like very well done animation where they don't need a lot of. But anyhow, he used to sing the songs from it and like bop up and down to it. So I have like a soft spot for that too, because we have quite a few of those on DVD. Those old school ones, and I guess a bunch of them are on Disney Plus now, which is cool. But there is something magical about that era of just like old, black and white cartoons. Hey, look at that. We're getting there. I don't like that there's so much white in the space, like at the top. So I think I'm going to adjust that. I also have this thing where my computer keeps saying it's run out of application memory. It's very frustrating. So hopefully things don't freeze. Hopefully I've been running okay here. Just making sure I'm saving a bunch. We're almost done, guys. I was not expecting to finish this up so quickly. If you are watching this and enjoying it, make sure you hit that like button. Nice. Thanks for making me feel old there, Dylan. He was like, I remember watching those. The reason I watched them is my parents were boomers. Dylan. But I guess I'm a bit of a boomer. I mean, technically I'm not a boomer, but I definitely have like boomer moments. Like, when I got my haircut, I was actually talking about this with the lady who gave me a haircut. She's a single mom, and she was just talking about her kids and stuff. And we were both just like talking about how weird it is to get to that age where I start feeling like my grandpa, like with technology. Because like I do remember really vividly, like I had a Nintendo, like the old school, the original Nintendo, right? And I remember whenever my dad or my grandparents would like try to hook something up, I'd be like, it's just this thing. Oh, like kind of attitude. I mean, not, I was still respectful of them and stuff, but it's like, I still vividly remember being like, oh, you just press this button on the remote. It's not that hard, And now I'm that guy. Like Ben will be like, hey, play this video game I designed and animated on my iPad, and I will play for like 2 seconds and he'll chuckle because I'm like just have no idea how to control anything or use it. So I definitely have moments where I feel a little boomerish and out of touch because I'm like, he's just so on point with it. You guys, we're getting close. The thing I don't like is this big area. So I'm gonna reduce the white a little bit, and then I'm gonna add. I think I'm gonna just improvise and add just a slightly darker version of this blue as it gets deeper and darker. But we are getting there. Dylan said, LMAO, I'm Gen Z, so that's why I said it. Yeah, I'm the very last Generation X. I think that's the official. I know there's like arguments about it, Generation X and stuff, but I believe I'm literally considered the last of the Generation X. Not like the last month, but like the last year to be included as Generation X. Curiously, I'm also like sometimes considered what's after X. What is the generation after X? Maya, do you remember what the Oh, millennial. I think I'm like right between a millennial and Generation X. Y. That's it. So I'm technically I'm the last of X, and I'm by some accounts I'm the first of Y. We're a weird We're considered unique in that sense. But I think it's just millennial or whatever, you know. I'm a unicorn in the sense that I can deal with both. That works way better. I like that it's getting a little bit darker as it goes. Let's see if that works. Okay. Yeah, it's getting as it goes down. Okay, guys. I think I want it to be here, but keep getting these notifications that that I need to force quit something. So that's a good time to finish the page. I am personally very happy with this. I'm going to save it. And then I'm going to call it a day on the stream. If you guys haven't yet, hit that bell so you get notifications when I'm about to go live. Hit that like button. You know, and I hope to kind of see you guys in the next few days. I would say I'll be streaming again tonight, but that may not happen. But definitely make sure you've subscribed and hit the bell, because it might happen. It definitely is going to happen tomorrow. Jim said, congrats on the progress. It's looking fantastic. Thank you, Jim. It's a beast. You know how it goes with this creative endeavor stuff, where I fluctuate from thinking this is the thing I love best to why did I pick comics? So I appreciate the support. You guys are great. Dylan, Philip, all you guys, Scott, Jim, who I'll be seeing that I'm excited. I'll be seeing at the beginning of the month, next month, at our next Crest line, which is going to be awesome. But it's good seeing you guys and catching up. Yeah, it's just been really fun to hang out. Gary as well. Gary, you're included too. All right, guys, I will see you guys on the next one. And have a good day. And I'm going to go eat. Bye. Thanks again for watching. Bye. See you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to crumble!
I'm Joshua Kemble, and welcome to Joshua Kemble's live stream. I've been a freelance illustrator and graphic designer for over 20 years. I was an art director for 9 years. And when I'm not art directing and working on illustrations and graphic designs, I'm working on comic books and graphic novels, and that's usually what I do during my streams. And while conversations can go all over the place on this stream, from spicy and entertaining to goofy and silly, one thing stays consistent throughout every stream. I'll always be working on art. So pull up a chair, get your art supplies out, and get ready for an entertaining show that'll keep you company while you work on your own personal art projects. This is Joshua Kemble's Art Stream.